Happy Friday, everyone. It's Invisible Walls, episode 124, right here on GameTrailers.com. We just got back from PAX. We just got back from an awesome Call of Duty Black Ops multiplayer event. Have a lot of good stuff to discuss today on the show. Ryan Stevens is here back without the nerd flu.
That is true. I am nerd flu free.
And Daniel Bloodworth is back from... Is it your first show after...
No, last week I was
That's right. You were back last week after your vacation. Bloodworth, welcome to the show.
Yep.
Justin Spear is on today.
What's up?
And we also got a crew of folks coming in a little later to talk to us about PAX, Call of Duty, etc. But right now, let's get to it. So last week, we finally got a look at Call of Duty Black Ops multiplayer.
More than a look.
Yeah, we got pretty much the whole shebang. And here to talk to us about that shebang is Rohan Rivas.
What's going on? Sorry, I'm still recovering from PAX.
He's in the middle of a manicure.
Yeah, he's being
now.
dutiful
Yes.
with his cuticle.
That's right.
And Hoffman is here, Jeremy Hoffman, to talk to us. He was at the event as well.
We got to play a little bit of Black Ops. You really think this is everything, though? You think they've shown it all, or do you think they're holding back some
There'll be
stuff?
more wager modes.
Well, I would hope that they're holding something back,
gotta
but they
be
showed
hoping.
a whole hell of a lot.
They let us navigate the menus, which
Right.
I thought was really interesting. They didn't do that last year. They
true.
kind of kept it all under wraps, but we got to see all the stats, all the stat stuff that they've included, all the perks, all the kill streaks. But what I did notice is that there's weapons that are locked off as classified under each category, so I thought that was kind of cool. But yeah, for the most part, I mean, we saw a huge chunk of the multiplayer, if not a majority of it.
Well, it's not that much longer till the game comes out. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if in a week or two I get the invitation for the review event, so they kind of need to let the cat out of the bag at this point.
I think there's going to be more wager modes. I mean, I think they're cool. I wasn't at the event. I was
Well, let's
here
explain to people what
compressing
wager
them.
modes are first.
Well, okay, the small crux of it is that they're all the one-on-ones, and you basically bet your skill versus other people's skill in a mode that's separate from the regular multiplayer.
Well, you earn points for playing multiplayer. Then you can basically bet those points. In the wager mode, the top 3 scorers in each round actually get paid out. Everybody else screwed.
But I'd say the large crux of it is what we've seen since Unreal and like Quake mods are out. These are mutations. I think Left 4 Dead: The Passing recently did this with the weekly mutations, where they have a quirky thing that back in the day, some PC guy could just fool around with some INI files and do it. These are maybe a little more complex, but there's nothing really crazy here. I'm curious if any of these
Not real money. I don't think that's another thing to bring up.
yeah.
Most importantly.
I'm curious if any of the maps are going to be wager mode specific.
I doubt it.
If anything's going to be really tailor made for like one-on-one or something like that.
Here's the thing, though, and I think this needs to be explained a little bit, is that when you progress through the levels in regular multiplayer, when you progress through the levels, you don't unlock weapons anymore. You don't unlock equipment. You unlock categories for those to be available. The currency in game, it's called COD points, I believe.
Catchy.
Yeah, it is catchy. But then you
they took a long time thinking that
I heard
one out.
Igor.
and then you use the COD points to purchase those weapons, purchase that equipment. So there's actually 2 different types of advancements in this game now, and I don't know if that's really going to confuse a lot of the casual people. I know my dad plays the game, and I know he's going to be like, "Oh my God, this is way too complex. I have to buy shit."
Yeah, but you're like a walking walkthrough for him. So
I know, but
I like the points. I
like it too.
never ever use the sniper rifles in that game.
Yeah.
So I will never have to purchase the sniper rifle. It's awesome. And I'm not going to be like, oh, I just hit level 25. I get that awesome sniper rifle I'm never, ever going to use. So now at least I'm going to be able to purchase things that I want to use. And I feel, new attachments, things that I think I'm actually going to use versus things that I will never pick up.
Well, the other thing, too, is, most people, when they go online and play Call of Duty, they get their asses handed to them. I mean, almost everybody I talk to, even journalists in this industry who get paid to play games, I saw them at this event. We were talking about Call of Duty. They're like, I could never get over the hump, man. Like, once the game was out for a month and all the kids who played the game before got on it, they're like, I was lucky to finish with 5 or 6 kills. Now, the people
matchmaking in that game is pathetic, though.
Yeah, I mean, you do get matched up with like 10 Prestige guys when you've like cracked Prestige the first time. I think the matchmaking could be better. And so that ties it back to, are these people going to have the balls to wager points in these games? I don't think so.
Well, I think, too, the people that are going to be playing Wager are going to be the best of the best. I mean, and here's the thing, though, and this is what I absolutely love about the Wager mode, is that it's all set and it's place-specific. It's all randomized. It's a level playing field. You don't go in there with your own perks. You don't go in there with your own guns. It's everybody starts out at 0. So, I mean, it really is going to be the best of the best, and you have to be familiar with every aspect of that game.
Now let's talk about some other modes. Obviously, we can't spend the whole show talking about it, although I think probably that would make for a pretty good show. There's so much to talk about. The gun game, I thought, was the most interesting mode, because I think that sort of shows a player's skill over the whole breadth of the game, instead of saying, okay, here's this one gun you're good with, and here's this one loadout that you've mastered. This mode forces you to use the loadout throughout the whole game.
And I did really, really well at that mode until we got to the sniper rifles. And then I was terrible. I think Rohan was standing by me watching, and I like ripped through the first like 12 guns, just taking everyone out. And I'm like, oh, sniper rifles. And I dropped to like 6th place.
Now, how this one works is everyone starts out with the same gun. When you get a kill with that gun, you're given a new gun. And you keep sort of stepping up the ladder with better and better weapons. But isn't that kind of a self-perpetuating thing where once one person kind of gets to that 4th gun and...
Well, but here's the thing, though. Here's the other side of that, is that you start out with very basic weapons, and then, like Jeremy said, you progress to the more complicated weapons that if you can't use that sniper rifle, you're not going to hit 16, 17, 18 to get those like ballistic missiles and stuff like that. So there is kind of a cutoff there, and I think Jeremy hit that threshold.
It was...
he couldn't go any farther.
I mean, but that's
Thanks,
what...
guys.
I mean, I'm just saying, that's what kind of keeps it a little balanced, and you have to be familiar.
Well, I like the fact that it basically demands that you learn to use all the weapons. You start out with a handgun. A lot of people maybe never use handguns. It forces you to learn the whole game instead of just sticking with that one set of weapons and abilities that you've been using the whole time.
Yeah, the first match I played, I got really lucky and just kind of ran up against 3 people and took the 3 of them out. So then I was in 4th, or I had my 4th weapon. And once you get that and you're 3 ahead of someone,
that's what I'm saying. If you
really,
with a submachine gun against somebody with a handgun,
it's a good feeling, man. It's
fun. But it can be a little discouraging, right? It really kind of depends on who can get out there and get those first few kills. That gives you a huge advantage, right?
It does, but when you get a room of 6 players who are extremely good, I mean, I don't know what happens there. I mean, who knows?
Well, you played it. What did happen?
And
let's set something straight. The community folks that were at this event were beasts. Like, these guys were so freaking good. The journalists were just getting their asses kicked.
I played the that game, and I won that one.
Well, Rohan, let's set something straight here.
Jump in? Yeah.
Rohan is really, really good at Call of Duty. We've had John Smith on the show before. He also is like a prodigy at these games. These two guys together, when you play with them online, it's like I could just go hide in a corner and we win every match.
They're handsome players.
No, yeah. Rohan is really, really good.
I mean, how much time are you putting into Modern Warfare a night right now? At least an hour?
At least an hour
still.
Or so. I played like 4 or 5 games.
So John Smith,
tonight.
He goes on and he plays every night still for 4 hours. Like, he never plays anything else. He'll jump on another game for a week and he'll go right back to it. So, but what I heard from a lot of people is like, dude, these community kids who are the best of the best, like Rohan and John, we're just wiping the floor with the journalists. And, the journalists are there to cover the game, to get an impression of the game. It might have been better if they had sort of the pros all playing each other and then kind of had the journalists minus Rohan all playing each other.
Besides the capture area, there was like no rhyme or reason to any of
it was all just scattershot.
Just really quick, RC car looks pretty funny. John Smith blew himself up the first time he got it. He didn't know the controls.
Yeah, he sat it down in front of him and just blew himself up pretty much.
It's Halo Warthog controls, people. It's not right trigger accelerate, left trigger brake.
What were your favorite kill streaks? The new ones?
For me, I like the personally. I thought the coolest one, and it was a no-brainer. I didn't even think about it until I actually saw it. Was the deployable SAM site.
Yeah.
I thought that was freaking awesome. I don't need to carry a rocket launcher with me anymore. I can just throw that thing down,
Yeah, and let it do all the work as well. Plus, you can defend it while it's sitting
there.
Yeah,
I thought there were some really interesting kill streaks. A lot of the same. Care packages back.
I kept trying to throw down a care package to get one of the random drops, but it never happened.
Yeah, and the super weapons, too. I forgot about those.
Those should be fun, like the Gatling gun. I believe they called it the Death Machine.
Yeah.
It's a little ridiculous.
Now, one thing I'll say is that I'm actually kind of impressed with this game. Typically with this series, it's like everyone looks forward to the Modern Warfare, and then Treyarch comes out with its game, and people kind of look at it as a second rate. I think the gap is narrowing between the two at this point. Like, as far as the updates and the new creative things that they've added to the game, I think Treyarch so far has done a pretty good job.
Are we going to see zombie communists?
I'm sure. I mean, they're gonna put the zombie mode in there.
Well, yeah, it's the 4 additional maps you get with the limited edition.
Get me back to my home and you can go back to yours.
Let's get off this thing!
All right, first we're going to talk about a game that I saw at E3, and I was actually pretty disappointed in the game. I felt that they probably shouldn't have shown the game in the state that it was in. Not that long from now, we've got a full build of it. It's actually looking pretty good. That game is Enslaved.
I saw it when it had a robot voice still in it.
Yeah.
Where they had the voice actors.
Well, I saw it when it was just flat out broken. Like, you'd literally walk into a room and the whole screen would just turn white, and it wouldn't draw the environment.
I saw it when it was just screenshots.
Wow.
So we've had the build in-house. It is the full build, right? We have the whole game now?
I think so, but we're limited to how much we can play or how much we can, report about. So played through about 8 chapters or 7 chapters. So I think it's a good chunk of the game.
Now, we had an exclusive preview that ran over last weekend, and so people already know about what we've mentioned in the preview. So let's talk about some things that maybe you didn't have enough room to include in the script.
Well, I mean, I hope I mentioned at least the basics of everything, but
first of all, this is like a buddy game. It's you have Monkey, who's the heavy. What's the girl's name?
Trip.
It's Trip, yeah.
Trip. And Trip technically doesn't really do anything. She just kind of along for the ride.
She does some stuff. She'll like open doors. She is integral in some of the puzzles. You need a second pair of hands.
Right. A lot of it is like
do
she
this and
stands
that.
over here. You run through a gauntlet.
Yeah. So you basically you give her simple commands at times, and she can distract enemies to keep you from getting shot up when you need to get somewhere or cross a gap. But yeah, basically you're looking out for her. There's no co-op or anything though. It's a single player game, so you kind of have this other character along with you.
So far, how is the AI for Trip?
I hadn't. I mean, she
keep in mind
cowers.
this game
She
isn't
cowers
finished,
pretty
it can
well.
improve.
Yeah, she cowers pretty well. She stays out of the. She stays out of the
Is she
way.
like Yorda,
in
kind
general.
of, or from Eco, or?
She's not quite as
Helpless?
as passive
You don't have to
as
hold
that.
her hand
You
as
don't
much.
have to drag her ass around the map, but
Yeah, you gave her some alley oops, right? Like kind of threw her across some.
yeah, there's
Cliffs.
stuff like that. You're definitely she's definitely protected by you.
Yeah, and it's stuff I saw at Gamescom a little later. You actually get a third character too, and he is story-wise, his name's Pigsy, and he was friends with Trip's father, and now that she's all grown up, he finally sees her as a woman, and he has a crush on her.
Oh.
And so the whole time he's trying to get between the two of them, trying to make Monkey look bad.
What a jerk.
Yeah, he's a real jerk with his VO. But he also has this grappling hook and a sniper rifle, so he provides covering fire for you.
Now, you don't control him either, right?
Right.
He's just along for the
Yeah,
ride.
and you can't even give him any basic commands like you can with Trip. But he will toss down these mines that you can detonate when there's an enemy over him. And there's a boss fight that uses that they showed there as well. So yeah, I think that's
That's actually a pretty cool dynamic.
Yeah, it's
You're
two-thirds
used to
of the way
playing this
through.
kind of ferry someone across the land, and then you have a third party who's actually kind of aggressive, but you have no control over.
yeah.
That's cool. I
Bring
can.
a cool dynamic.
There's
to the
definitely
game.
more to it than just jumping through a standard platform.
Does Monkey secretly have a crush on him? Is our love triangle?
He doesn't seem like the type. He's a pretty
no
Yeah.
bullshit kind of guy.
yeah. He's pretty straightforward. He's got a little bit of a New York accent. 200 years in the future. So
Now,
there are remnants.
One of the things you were saying is that the game would, the fighting mechanics would be a little bit more tactical, and that's why you're usually more one-on-one. Do you feel like it really comes off like that, or is it still kind of button mashy?
I mean, I think the combat is a little bit off to the side. It's kind of something separate that happens. Most of the time, you're figuring how to get from one point to the other. How to get yourself across, and then how to get Trip through. And there are kind of there are points where combat's unavoidable, and then you can use your upgrades and whatever, and you kind of have a chance to let off some steam and break some robots, rip off some heads, stuff like that. The animation though is really good. And even in combat, you can actually see Monkey's face sometimes when he smashes through things. So just that, one of the good things about Heavenly Sword is the cutscenes and the characters, and they were really pretty good, right? Pretty convincing.
Sure.
So, and here just the way people move and the way their expressions are. I mean, it says a lot. So it's they're definitely doing something. It's a little more than just regular platformer.
Now that you guys have seen more of the game, what has surprised you the most?
I think what surprised me the most was how far west that they're going. Because was a good quarter of the game takes place in New York or whatever, and then they start branching out. And the end of the Gamescom demo, they were heading out to Hoover Dam.
Interesting.
So I mean, they're probably going all the way to California.
For instance, the hoverboard to me, when we saw it, I was like, wow, never would have guessed there'd be a hoverboard in the game.
It's Monkey's Cloud. He rides around in it. Like the legend.
But was there anything else like that that really sort of made an impression?
Well, I wasn't, I guess, at first I wasn't expecting to like the characters as much as I did, or to be able to take the setting, kind of seriously. It's, it seemed a little silly to me at first, or a little maybe overly serious, or, I couldn't quite, get the vibe, but, Trip actually kind of, endeared herself to me. I don't.
You like the characters,
yeah, I like the characters. Yeah, and
Well, they have a pretty big scriptwriter working on it. The guy who did
they do. Yeah, and
20 Days Later in Sunshine.
Yeah. And I mean, Andy Serkis is
okay?
the dialogue's pretty good. I mean, it's not so much like typical video game dialogue where, this faction of robots has invaded the thing, and we have to get to the generator in order to deactivate the, what's in such drive. It's more like it's more about just what the people are, what they're feeling, what their emotions are, what they're trying to do, and not so much trying to spill as much backstory as they can in every sentence or something like that. So
this is a game people should watch. I think before we may not have said that, right?
Yeah, I mean it's, and in some ways it seems pretty normal. Just the platforming. There's a lot of. It's a little bit automatic, It's kind of like maybe Uncharted style or God of War style. You're pretty much getting to certain points, and then you can really quickly. Yeah, if you're going the right direction, you can hold the stick and like mash on B, and Monkey will just freaking take off and swing everywhere. But in a way that's not bad. You're getting where you need to go, and you save your brain power for the puzzly stuff.
Now it comes out soon, right?
The 5th of October.
Yeah, so less than a month away. PAX West was this past weekend in
PAX Prime. PAX Prime.
PAX West was this past weekend in Seattle.
Wear the Prime shirt. You got to
Good
go
for
by the
you,
real
bro. What, double the number of last year, the attendees?
No, they said, I believe it was
61,000.
Yeah. Well, they did,
It's a little bit higher
30
than
something
that.
It was
last
like
year, right?
capped, but
Yeah,
they grew the expo floor and they opened up more halls and stuff like that.
So it wasn't as crowded, but same
It didn't
number
feel
of
as
people.
crowded.
Yeah.
I think they added I think they said it was like 5,000 more people. It's really hard to figure out, I think, how many more people, because there's Thursday pass or Friday passes, Saturday passes. So
Counterfeit media badges.
It's so much media. So, there was a ton of people. Felt like there was a lot more expo floor room this year. One thing that they did that was nice is they didn't separate the indie games from the big publishers.
And why should they?
No, it was great. So it was mixed in. So you have, a couple indie games right next to the 2K booth or right next to the WB booth.
That's actually great, because that gives a chance for these games to get some exposure to people who may come in there and be like, I only want to play these games. And they may actually see something, they're like, oh shit, that's pretty cool, and it, give them a chance to generate an audience for their games.
Yeah, I think it was a good idea. I think it was nice. And it also means that they were able to squeeze, I feel like, a lot more. When you have just huge booths, I feel like you end up having a lot of wasted space. Mm-hmm. So they had a lot of small booths, a lot of vendors, ton of free play rooms. Way more space for panels.
I saw the saddest thing in the free play room right before I left. Everyone keeps telling me you have to check it out. I ran up there, and there was some dude playing Smash Brothers Brawl all by himself. It was a little
the
sad.
loneliest gamer.
Yeah.
You didn't jump in and play?
No.
Now, how do those rooms work? Do they give you the TVs and everything, and you just need to bring your consoles, or do they have
they have
everything?
like things you check out and stuff like that. Same with board games and D&D and Magic and stuff like that.
Now, obviously, the big story, Duke Nukem Forever.
It was there.
Yeah.
We all played it.
It was there.
I think Rohan, Ryan, and I all three of us played it. It was alive. It's back. I know for the whole weekend, I would be sitting at dinner and I'd just sit there and go, I can't believe I played Duke today.
That's so weird. I had that same feeling, but it was when I lost my virginity.
Wait, you lost your virginity?
Yeah, I know.
Wait, are you sure about that?
At PAX? Were you at the PAX
Were you at the PAX orgy? Yeah.
Now,
Sure.
does the game? I mean, the game's been in development for over a decade. Does it
But not
seem like
really.
it had? Well, I mean, if you add up the time, it's probably been in development for 5 or 6
Yeah.
years. But it's been on various hiatuses at different points. Does the game feel dated? It kind of looks dated.
The game definitely looks dated, but I think it feels like
It was fun. I mean,
was fun,
everyone's
yeah.
wanting to like shit on it, but it's Duke. I mean, a ton of shit's interactive. Like I was drawing on a whiteboard. I was drinking from a water fountain, and the screen went like horizontal and everything. Tons of like not quick time events, but like context sensitive stuff.
peeing at a urinal.
Yeah, but you can't aim where you're peeing, which is weird.
Unacceptable.
Yeah. There was a lot of little things to do, and I think it's just gonna be like severely
You
scripted.
can't aim where you're peeing.
Yeah,
I
I demand
would-
satisfaction. But the game, I think, is almost being playable for like the general populace was awesome. Like I thought it was really cool to get into the real PAX.
Yeah,
feel.
yeah, totally.
But on the other hand, I have to say the trailer. Oh my god, I don't think anyone's ever going to see it because of the ESRB. But what can we remember? There was like a giant 3-titted ogre. And Duke goes
ogre
like,
lady.
big boss.
This Duke goes like, well, I'd hit it anyway, or something like
of course
that.
he did.
Yeah, I mean, the game had that Duke charm. I thought it,
Is it funny, or
it
is it
felt?
like-
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
funny. It was fun. I think technically, 8 years ago, it would have been awesome. I mean, you were blowing limbs off guys and stuff that
Now it's
a
just
generation
kinda whatever.
ago you.
I still think, I don't know, the shrink ray is kind of cool, seeing that in a real like 3D space.
I had fun with it. I'm just saying I don't think anyone's going to buy this game for the graphics, and that's fine. I think it's
The one thing I felt they obviously showed us 2 tiny little vertical slices. The weirdest and maybe the most disappointing part was the second level reminded me a little too much of Borderlands.
the driving
like,
portion.
aesthetically.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, the driving too. I mean, you're just running over dudes in like a straight
I
line.
mean, that was definitely an opportunity.
But like, I
for me,
crashed the
but-
car and it was just like Halo 1 is like flip the Warthog or flip the, I don't even remember what the thing was called, flip the 4x4. But the game was funny, and it constantly was like little things like you're fighting a boss with like a rapid fire rocket launcher, and its clip size is 69, which is like definitely on purpose.
What does that mean?
Well, Shane, when a man and a woman
Love each other very much.
Well, speaking of that, yeah, the first level ends with Duke presumably getting like a double BJ from like 2 girls,
He's
which I'm
playing
sure
the game.
PR doesn't want us to
Twins,
mention, but
yeah.
everyone saw it. So they really broke the fourth wall there.
I think it retained the Duke personality. It may seem dated, but bottom line, I thought it was fun.
I
Now,
think
if each one of you guys had to pick one other game from the show that really made an impression on you, what would it be, Ryan?
Portal co-op was pretty amazing. They actually
Remember, I told you guys at E3, it made my mind melt. Like,
were you playing as the little robots when you played?
No.
So it's now the little robots. I had a great interview with the dudes from Old Man Murray. I'm gonna cut in a clip. Finally, you ever play Demon Souls?
Demon Souls is my favorite game from last year. Yeah.
You heard it here.
Yeah.
I
Demon
tried to
Souls is a great game. Don't let anyone tell you different.
As
now?
the little robots, or
Yeah.
with little robots?
As
the robots,
yeah.
yes.
And they actually picked someone from the audience to play with them. And I heard you guys got the less than stellar person, the other left.
the other right, the other left,
Your other-
right. Up. No,
But with
up.
us, they
No,
showed how
up.
the new like ping commands work really well. The little touches, like the little gestures, you can like hug each other, give each other high fives, and it doesn't really add so much, but it adds a lot to a co-op experience.
Sure,
that kind of
yeah.
stuff's like great.
Now that you've
And
checked it out, though,
and co-op challenge rooms, which I'm really excited about.
now that you've checked it out, though, did they walk you through basically telling the person what to do? Is that how like they did the demo for you guys?
Yeah, well, they showed it was really showing
Yeah.
off the ping system, so it's how you could communicate. So, yes.
Did you still feel like while you're sitting there, you're like, I don't know how long this will take me to figure out on my own without these hints?
No, I mean, I played.
some of the
I
later
played.
one puzzle rooms they showed me, I was like, what?
We may have seen a little less advanced stuff, but I mean, like, I remember going through Portal and going through the challenge maps, which were like basically reskinned versions of levels you already played, and going from Watt to starting to think how they're thinking, and kind of getting into like the spirit of like Portal's craziness. And I'm just really surprised Rich didn't vomit while he was filming.
Hoffman, what's your one game?
The game I saw was not on the show floor. It was BioShock Infinite. The 2K guys and Game Informer had a panel about, it's pretty much talking about the cover of Game Informer this month, which are amazing. But as a little surprise, they showed off a 9-minute demo, gameplay demo, and you could literally hear the crowd gasp probably every 2 to 3 minutes because something amazing was happening on screen. Just little stuff that I haven't,
give us one.
We haven't
nugget.
seen before. One of the things that I think everyone freaked out about is telekinesis is obviously back. You rip a shotgun out of a guy's hand, which we've all seen before, but the shotgun flips around and shoots the dude in the face, and then you grab, and then you get the shotgun.
I could have used that in high school.
Just little things like that. And just working with their co-op partner there. I don't know if the game's going to be co-op or just AI co-op, but combining powers now. So she was able to throw up wind, and then you hit it with electricity, and it creates a lightning storm.
Interesting.
Took out a full group of guys. Really cool new power. So Swarm is back, but it's not bugs anymore. It's crows. So you call in this whole murder of crows. And it's just crows all over the screen, taking out everyone. Just they've ratcheted it up. It's
good.
It's the
I was a
moves
little
are-
disappointed with the second game, so sounds like they've kind of reinvigorated their creativity.
Yeah,
for
well,
this.
it's back to Kin and Irrational.
Right.
So they were the team that did the original game, and I think they're going to bring a lot to the table. There were some amazing things in there. I think for a while. I was looking at Rohan and I was like, is this CG? Is this real? Is this gameplay?
So the visuals look that good.
Visuals looked amazing.
Rohan, what was your
Yeah,
one game?
I'm actually just gonna have to continue on with what Jeremy was
Wow.
saying. I'm dead serious. Like, I
Must
would
be pretty
say-
nice going to panels.
It's the only one I went to. So, but yeah, I mean, BioShock Infinite. Wish it was playable. Wish it was on the show floor. But of course, I mean, that was such a treat for everybody at PAX who came to that panel. I mean, it was breathtaking. I'm a huge BioShock fan, but I thought it was great. One kind of thing that I noticed in the gameplay that I thought was amazing was the skyhook. So in the gameplay, you traverse these buildings and these set pieces that are suspended on giant balloons. Of course, it's Columbia or something like that. So, but you go back and forth between them on these rail systems that are installed, and it's kind of like mixes up the gameplay a little bit. So your character will jump up, attach himself to this rail system, and it becomes like an on-rail shooter to some degree. Yeah, so you can still aim and shoot, and there was a combat portion where a dude was running alongside of you on this rail, and you shoot him, and he flies off and hits the building and leaves a splatter mark, and you track him as he falls all the way down through the sky. And then it's all in real time as well. So you hit the other platform on the other side, and you turn around, and it must have been like at least a mile and a half of distance. So it's
Interesting.
really cool.
PAX as good this year as last year?
This is my first PAX. I was blown away. It was huge. Everyone kept telling me like it was tiny, but they doubled the expo floor pretty much.
Yeah, this year
It was-
compared to last
I
year, they
was
doubled the expo
pretty-
floor.
Well,
Can
I know
I say
you were
blown
working.
away?
Did you have a good time?
Kind of.
Do you think you would have a good time if you just went there?
I'm contemplating taking a couple days off to go for myself. I mean, it just seemed awesome. There's a lot of great people there. A lot of invisible wall people walked up to me. A guy from Epic Mickey was doing a walkthrough. Epic Mickey, by the way, looks awesome. Like the level design, how much like choices you have. Mickey can be a little bastard. I pretty much killed a dwarf while we were playing.
Wow.
Or a gremlin. But he was like, two. Well,
Those are
very different
Is this like
things.
Snow White and the Seven, or like he just took out Dopey, or did he take out a
Dopey
gremlin?
always kind of looked like a gremlin to me.
I mean,
But he's like, oh, big fan of the show. I watch it every Friday. I'm like, I'm so sorry. But you know,
Because we've given that game some business on this show.
people asked where our panel was, and I'm like, there was some great game trailers panels though, and then like you guys were saying, the indie games, we saw the work of one man, a Retro City Rampage, which at first looks like an 8-bit GTA, but it is so much more. It's every 80s cliche in the world. He's running away from like the cops, and then a sewer grate opens, and these like 5-pixel tall Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles start attacking him. So before this game's sued out of existence, I think everyone should check it out. It's pretty crazy.
Overall, would you guys all go to PAX just to do it, even if you weren't going for work?
Yes.
You'd make
hands
the journey
down.
to Seattle?
Yeah.
yeah, it's actually probably my favorite convention.
Mine
out
as
of
well.
all of them.
Jeremy's royalty there also.
Wow. I don't know if I'd go that far, but
It's the king of Seattle.
I did take the crown of King of Seattle. Maybe I was a little drunk when I was saying that. But,
Self-proclaimed. We did 3 panels out there. crazy hectic. You guys are awesome. All the enforcers.
Yep, shout out to the enforcers.
You guys, it really does trickle down. Your good attitudes just kind of spread throughout the entire convention. Not like swine flu, but like, good feelings.
They're like rainbows.
Yeah, exactexact.
Double
You guys,
rainbows.
you guys are awesome, and you helped us out so much. So I just want to say thanks.
Now it's time for us to do a little self-service, so to speak. We got a lot of big stuff coming up on the site over the next...
Huh?
What are you doing?
I didn't do anything. I don't know.
We have a lot of big features coming up on the site over the next couple days. In fact, tomorrow, our review for Halo Reach will be live on the site, so make sure you check it out. Wish we could have talked about the game in the show today. The embargo just didn't work out. Literally, the embargo's like 24 hours after the show's going up, so we can't really talk about it, but you will see our full review, and we'll talk about the game next week. Also, next Monday, we're doing Hour 1 for Halo Reach. We are showing the first 2 missions from the campaign being played in their entirety. On Heroic, I might add. That was a mandate from Bungie that we had to play the first 2 missions on Heroic. So
Were you man enough for the mandate?
I was man enough for the mandate, yes. And I think it does make sense. The AI obviously is a lot better when you play it on Heroic. You really get to see how the enemies react, and react they do. I think I'm allowed to say that, I think.
The enemies do react. Correct.
And most importantly, Tokyo Game Show is coming up very soon. All 3 of you guys heading out to Tokyo?
Mm-hmm. How are we going to do the podcast?
Don't sound too
next week?
exciting. Or excited. How are we going to do the podcast?
Yeah.
It's just going to be me.
Okay.
I'm
all for it.
I'll just sit here by myself, do the
go
audio.
in the VO booth.
That will not be the case. We will find some people to do the show next week. We'll definitely be here. So, but we do have a lot of big stuff coming down the pipe. Tokyo Game Show. What day does it start technically?
Oh God, it's the 16th in Japan, so that's some other time here, I guess, right?
Yeah,
I gotta
probably
figure
be
that stuff
15th
out.
still. Yeah.
Yeah. So about a week away till Tokyo Game Show starts. What are you guys really looking forward to from the show at Tokyo? Besides The Last Guardian,
Which
let's
probably
hope we will see.
It probably won't be there, unfortunately. It's not on Sony's list, unless you guys have heard something different. But
That's
a shame.
kind of demoralizing.
I want to see Final Fantasy 13 International. No.
There's got to be at least one game you guys are really looking forward to checking out.
Bumpy Trot 2.
Yeah, that'll be there.
The age old, right? Demon's Souls 2,
it's
believe.
possible.
Believe.
Ni no Kuni on the PS3. I want to see that for sure.
What about you, Spear?
I'm just hoping for new stuff that I haven't heard of. There's other than Last Guardian, I could.
Yeah,
just want
4
to be
conventions
surprised.
back
I want
to back.
new
right?
stuff. I want maybe some non-sequel type stuff from
It's
Japan.
gonna be an interesting TGS, I think, after like Infinite last year saying their market's shrinking, like Atlas is having hard times. They're not going to even be at the show. It's gonna be interesting to see what happens this year, especially after last year's kind of lackluster appearance.
Well, I think one thing you can count on is that you guys are going to go there and kick total ass. Obviously, you're going to be working around the clock. Our updates are going to be rolling 24 hours a day. I can't think of anywhere else on the interwebs you'd want to go to check out TGS stuff than GameTrailers.com. And I'm not just being a homer. So anyway, make sure you check out our coverage next week. We'll have everything organized on a page where you guys can find everything. And these guys will be driving it home from Tokyo. All right, that's going to do it for episode 124. Next week, it could be a very lonely place here on Invisible Walls. Maybe we can get a special guest or two to come in here. I'm not promising anything yet, but I'll try to rally somebody to come in here and chat with me about games and chat about Tokyo Game Show. I think at that point, the show will kind of have revealed itself. So anyway, thank you for watching, as always. Thank you for listening, as always. Invisible Walls is up and out.
I was playing my life. I got it last night.
Oh, yeah.
And I named my kingdom Butt Plugia. And then every day it's like day 12 of the kingdom of Butt Plugia. I'm like, I shouldn't have done that.